Greetings, all you revolting workers out there, and welcome to Undeclared Bajor. Revolting in the sense that you're in revolt, not that I find you revolting.
Could be both. I mean, there weren't actually any revolting workers in the episode, is the thing, so...
True. This is Undeclared Bajor, a Star Trek Deep Space Nine rewatch. My name is Fletcher. About to say hello is Data.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Data.
Thank you, there you go. I needed that.
It's kind of weak, but...
Well, I didn't really do a very good Dr. Nick. It should be like, hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Holy crap, that's a loud thing. Hold on a second.
You got some bikers in your hood?
Yeah, it's more like a large car. Okay, maybe it's good now.
Okay. Today we're going to recap, discuss, and rate Season 3, Episode 7, Civil Defense. Alternate and much better title. The Ghosts of Terok Nor.
Oh, yeah, no, I like that, actually.
I was like, I couldn't think of a funny title, but I was like, you know what a good title would be? Civil Defense, I'm going to have to give like a D on titles, because Civil Defense is usually like when, missiles are coming and you gotta duck and cover or something.
It's really not a great title in any sense of the word.
Weren't nothing civil about it.
I'm just, like, what are we trying to say with Civil Defense? Like, I don't...
Yeah, like, do they think that that's how the civil defense system works? Like, if nukes are incoming, then everybody will get trapped in their houses or something? I don't know. But our discussion will contain full spoilers for this series up through this episode. However, we will try to keep spoilers for later in the series to an appropriate minimum. We won't reveal anything too big, like when Quark turns his bar into a hipster retro arcade with Pac-Man and craft beer. You wouldn't think it would be like a big important thing, but actually it was. You just gotta see.
That does seem like something these people would be into, I have to say. Like, Bashir would 100% be in there, like, playing Pac-Man.
I would actually enjoy watching that.
He'd be telling stories about how when he was in med school, like, there was a Pac-Man machine, and he got the high score on it, and it made him late for his final. And
yeah, and he only got the second highest score on it.
It'd be like that episode of News Radio with the arcade game.
Oh. There's another show that had an arcade game. Oh, it was Friend. Or am I thinking of the News Radio episode? It's like, is the News Radio the one where they keep putting dirty names in there and then they can't erase them?
No, I don't think so. No. Hold on.
I think that is the Friends episode I'm thinking of.
I don't remember that in Friends at all. But I can't find anything when I try to Google this. If anyone out there knows what the heck he's talking about, if it is an episode of Friends, let us know which episode of Friends it is.
It's been too long. I need to rewatch News Radio for sure.
Yep.
I think
always good.
I think I can do without rewatching Friends. I mean, Friends comes on every like
5 minutes.
Well, yeah, but it's always playing in the cafe in our office, so we just got to start sitting in front of the TV so we can watch Friends while we have lunch. Yeah, this episode originally aired the week of November 7th, 1994. It was written by Mike Crone, which sounds like a prank call name, but I can't quite figure out what it would mean. And directed by, and my sincerest apologies, Reza Badi. Never heard of either of these people before?
No, let's see. We're going to look up what they've... This is the new segment that is... What have these people done before? Because we've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Reza, Iranian-born director who helmed 5 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
Also directed many episodes of such popular television programs as Mission Impossible.
Oh, wow. The classic, or...
I guess it must be, including one featuring William Wyndham and Vince Howard. Mannix, The $6 Million Man, Rockford Files, Hawaii Five-0, The Incredible Hulk, Cagney and Lacey, Baywatch, Knots Landing, Jake and the Fat Man, Superboy, and Sliders.
Wow, so this guy's been around.
Yeah.
All the way from Mission Impossible and $6 Million Man. You said $6 Million Man, right?
Yeah.
All the way up through Sliders. I mean,
let's see. So I'm at his IMDb. Born in 1929 in Iraq, Iran. Director and producer known for Carnival of Souls, Stop Susan Williams, and Get Smart. Well, I do love Get Smart. That was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
So this guy's a pro.
Yeah. He's an old Hollywood.
If you need an episode of TV directed, this guy will knock it out for you.
Probably. Okay, but let's look at Mike Crone. Can you live up to Reza Badi'i?
Yeah.
Pitched the story for the episode initially and wrote the first draft of the teleplay. However, due to other commitments, he did not have time to finish the final draft. The script eventually went through almost the entire writing staff, which, yes, that's something I'm going to have to get into later, because apparently it's a whole thing in this one.
Oh, okay.
Crone's only other writing credit was the 1995 TV movie Ed McBain's 87th Precinct, Lightning.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
I need to know what this is. This is like McBain, like in The Simpsons?
Yeah. Mendoza!
2 homicide detectives investigate the slaying of several young women whose bodies have been left in obvious places to taunt the police, starring Randy Quaid. Ooh, and Ving Rhames.
Oh, wow. That's a interesting cast.
Right?
Randy Quaid and Ving Rhames.
Yeah, let's see who else is in here. Anybody else I know? Most of these names I have no idea. Tracy Middendorf. I know her from something. I can't place it, though.
It's definitely a familiar sounding name.
Oh, apparently the novel... It looks like it was based on a novel called Lightning. So maybe that's why the Lightning.
Okay.
Oh, and there's more. This is a series of movies. Okay, that explains the colon also. So there's Ed McBain's 87th Precinct, Heatwave. Ed McBain's 87th Precinct, Ice. And then there's a TV series called Ed McBain's 87th Precinct.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of this franchise before.
Nope, not at all. But good for them, I guess. I wonder if Ving Rhames is in all of it. Anyway, so that's what those guys were doing before or after or during Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
This one episode that they did of Deep Space Nine. That's not fair. It said that that director had done several Deep Space Nines.
Yeah, Reza did 5 or whatever.
Yeah, this is just his first one.
Yeah. Anyway, we better dive into this episode because it's a complicated one.
Yeah.
So O'Brien and Jake are down in an old ore processing unit. Which is this? Have we seen this set before? Was this in like the alternate universe?
Yeah, this may be the set from the alternate universe. I feel like that one had like a big weird thing in the middle though.
And they're preparing to convert it into a deuterium refinery. Jake's job is apparently to delete all the Cardassian computer files one at a time. Apparently he can't just select all and drag them to the trash.
Yeah, or tell the computer, "Hey computer, delete all the files." Which is how they normally do things on Star Trek.
You know, these Cardassian computers, they're just impossible to use.
Apparently.
So, this thing's running like Cardassian Linux.
Well, it lets you make files without file names, so...
They have a little conversation that kind of reminds us that this place used to be run by Bajoran slave labor during the Cardassian occupation. Sisko comes down to say it's time for dinner, but Jake is having trouble deleting one last file. O'Brien has a try at it, but suddenly it asks for a password. O'Brien's like, I don't know, guessed? But it doesn't work. Suddenly giant blast doors come down to seal them in, like that one time on Lost. And an alarm goes off announcing that there's been a Bajoran worker revolt in ore processing. Then a video of Gul Dukat comes on saying, hey, stop trying to revolt. Stop it. I'm going to give you 8 minutes to stop doing that.
Just immediately the first time anyone tries to do anything with the computer without the correct password, it must be a worker revolt. Yep. Only explanation.
Man, how many times did that bite people in the ass? It's like, oh, I put in the password wrong.
I put in last month's password. Dang it.
Yeah. It's like, it was password 1 instead of password 0. I'm not saying that's how I do my passwords, but...
Yeah, you've just found out how Fletcher does his passwords. Good luck hacking all of his stuff.
I gotta say, I'm very annoyed by our password rules, but whatever. Like, you can't have the same letter twice in a row.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I swear that makes it less secure, not more secure.
I mean, yeah, it does reduce the possible number of digits you can use there by 1, I guess.
Yeah, it smallens the password space or whatever. But I guess it's just to stop people from making their password like A or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, so they figure that they've triggered an automatic revolt suppression program, and soon discover that they're totally locked out of the computer system and can't use transporters or presumably anything. Odo in his office tries his password, but he only has level 6 clearance, and they need level 9. Quark comes in to see what's going on, but he only has level 7 clearance, which he briefly tries to sell to Odo. But Odo doesn't want it.
Oh yeah, Odo's like, that's not going to help me in this situation. Maybe we'll talk later.
Odo tries to get rid of Quark, but Quark figures the security office is the safest place in the whole station.
Well, when crazy weird shit's happening.
Yeah.
Quite possibly, yeah.
I mean, pretty fair. So I don't think the Cardassians probably put lots of security measures in to protect Quark's bar.
No, it seems unlikely.
It's like, hey, stop looting Quark's bar.
Hey, go loot Quark's bar.
Yes, all cash registers at Quark's bar are now open.
So, on the topic of Odo, the saga of the Odo costume continues with the belt that Odo wore for the first 6 episodes of the season disappears in this episode.
Oh, I didn't notice.
While Renee had originally asked for the belt because he liked the look with the costume from that Mirror Universe episode, he eventually decided that on the beige costume, he felt like it looked kind of Buck Rogers-y and asked if it could be removed.
I did feel like it looked kind of like overly militaristic somehow. I don't want to say like a Nazi officer or something, but there's something kind of intimidating looking about the belt, so.
Someone will notice the change, but not for like 26 episodes.
Down in ore processing, Cisco, Jake, and O'Brien are trying to find a way out, when another automated message comes on from Dukat reminding them that they're on a time limit. Cisco has a brilliant idea. He tells the computer he's the leader of the Bajoran workers and that they surrender. That was great. He's like, this is the leader of the Bajoran workers? I surrender? A Dukat message comes on that says, good, now just wait for security to show up.
I'm imagining the day that Dukat recorded all of these messages.
I was thinking about that the whole episode.
And like, how many were there that we didn't get to see?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I see that you have recruited Klingon mercenaries to help you with your revolt. This will not be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just imagine what a day that was. And I like that his messages sometimes have like blocking and like him like walking to a mark and posing.
Yep.
It's like, well, he really put a lot of effort into this system.
The voles that you have released into the life support system will not be successful.
Do not attempt to eat the voles for sustenance.
It's just, we just need a series of outtakes from the episode of like other messages Dukat recorded.
Yeah, that would be great. But yeah, they figure they have a little bit more time until the Cardassian security is supposed to come and put in a security code. Which I'm like, maybe they should have tried using Odo's level 6 code on this. I mean, he is security.
They couldn't communicate with Odo.
Oh, that's true, that's true. And also, we learned that apparently the Cardassians didn't trust Odo, so.
I think he does at least confirm here what I think we talked about but not been sure before, that he was their head of security.
Right. I mean, yeah, it was pretty strongly implied before, because we learned he's an officer of the Cardassian court and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
But just another callback to Odo's time totally not collaborating with the Cardassians. In the meantime, they get to work examining the ore processing machinery. Jake figures he can shimmy up the molten ore pipe, which is now not filled with molten ore, and try to find a way out.
Oh no, there's still molten ore in here somehow.
Yes. Oh, dang it. A message from Dukat comes on saying, okay, you have 3 minutes left until we gas you. So they're like, okay, well, let's just try that then. Which, did they not notice that the life support system had poison gas dispensers in it?
That was my first thought. I was like, he's like, oh, we're going to pump all this deadly gas in there. And I'm like, well, obviously the Federation would have immediately removed the poison gas canisters from the life support system, right? Apparently not. I mean, maybe the replicator just makes it and shoves it in there.
Like, well, even if there's like a replicator in there, they're like, let's make sure this is all good. This is life support. It's pretty important.
I mean, the Federation on the Enterprise, at least, would occasionally need to pump gas into places to knock people out. That is like a repeating thing that happens.
True.
But it wasn't like murder gas.
Yeah. But yeah, they're able to get out just as the room starts to fill with gas. One of many close calls this episode. But however, this sets off a new alarm that workers have escaped from ore processing, which seems to cause every door on the station to close and lock. And then we get another warning message from Dukat. It's like, hey, nope, don't try to take over the station. Don't do it. And then Cisco, Jake, and O'Brien manage to make their way up to some, quote, some kind of loading bay, which, are there just massive areas of the station that they know nothing about?
It does seem that way, right? And they were like, is there a way out of here? Only back down that pipe. And I was like, but this would have been a room people had to go in and out of if it was loading things, right? Like, how can that be the only way out?
Well, I mean, clearly there was a door over there.
Yeah, because they blew a hole in it or whatever. But.
Yeah. But yeah, this is where, they try to call ops, but none of their comm badges are working, which Bashir attributes to a, quote, general dampening field. So yeah, this is the part where their comms stop working. Because before they were able to communicate with ops. Because ops was like, oh, we'll beam you out of there. And they're like,
oh, that's true. They did say that. You're right. I'd forgotten that.
Kira tries shooting her way through the door, which does open the door, but the doorway is protected by a force field.
It's just like, oh, good, we got the door open. Bam, force field. Yeah. Oh, well, how pointless was that?
Down in the security office, Odo and Quark are trapped by a similar force field, which results in the great exchange. Like, you mean I'm stuck in here with you? It's like, no, I'm stuck in here with you.
Which is much worse.
It's like that Watchmen scene, but reversed. So Cisco, Jake, and the Chief try ramming their way out of the room with a minecart thing, but it's no use. Cisco has the idea that they can use the volatile ore laying around everywhere, which I guess nobody just has ever been in this room, right, and like come down and cleaned out the ore, to blow the door open.
I guess when the Bajorans took over the station, they're like, all that ore processing stuff, we're not going to use that, right? And they're like, no, so they just sealed it off.
Yeah. This uridium ore. Not uridium, which is a real thing, but uridium.
Wasn't iridium like radioactive or something?
I don't know. All I know about uridium is that uridium, yttrium, and 2 other elements are all named after the same quarry where they were all discovered.
Huh? Ytterbium?
Yeah, that's probably one of them. Now I gotta look this up.
Yep. Ytterbium is named after Ytterby, the village in Sweden near where he found the new component of erbium.
Well, maybe uridium isn't one of them. I know 4 elements are named after that place.
Okay, yes, so this place in Sweden, yttrium and ytterbium are both named after the village of Ytterby in Sweden.
Oh, yeah. Yttrium, erbium, terbium, and ytterbium.
Gotcha.
Which are symbols Y, ER, TB, and YB. They were first described in 1794, 1843, 1843, and 1878, respectively. In 1989, the ASM International Society installed a plaque at the former entrance to the mine, commemorating the mine as a historical landmark.
Oh, man. In addition, scandium and 3 other lanthanides, holmium, thulium, and gadolinium, can trace their discovery to the same quarry.
Wow. 3 elements that I've totally heard of. Anyway, back to the episode.
Yeah.
Well, none of these is uridium. Which, okay, here's a question I have. Or maybe it doesn't matter, but why bring the ore up to the station for processing?
This is an excellent question, which I don't know the answer to.
Wouldn't it be more efficient to process the ore on the planet and then just send the purified stuff? Anyway.
Maybe something about being in space makes it easier to purify. Or maybe you need, like, I don't know, maybe, like, the space station is designed around the, like, enormous requirements for whatever this process is, since it was a mining station or whatever.
Or maybe they're worried about Bajoran rebels seizing their refineries or something. I don't know.
Or maybe they mined it from, like, the asteroid belts. Although it was in orbit of Bajor, so that wouldn't really make any sense.
That could be. I just know that, like, NASA has this, like, philosophy of pretty much never going up and down a gravity well with weight that you don't need.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, that's why, like, they just put the bare minimum in the lunar lander to go down there and then come back up. Dax tries to tinker with the computer to regain control, but winds up frying her hands with a force field or something. And then which this causes a new Dukat message to come on saying, you know what? I'm just going to start pumping gas into the whole habitat ring.
Yep, gonna kill think of your families, Bajoran workers.
It's in this great time of need that a hero arrives. Garrick.
It is a pretty badass moment when he steps through the force field.
Yeah, it's like, he stands there, he's like, computer, security code, Garrick, Ultra 4, Bravo, Red, or whatever, and then he goes in and he steps in. So luckily the security code still works. However, all he can do with it is turn off force fields for just long enough for him to get through. But he suggests turning off the life support to stop the gas from dispensing. That will buy them 12 hours until they all run out of air. Or, I think he said destroy life support, actually.
So, I assume that they fixed that after the end of the episode. We don't actually see it.
I mean, everybody didn't die. More series happened, so... Yeah, I assume they fixed that.
The next episode is an entire new cast when they show up and the dead bodies of the old cast are all in ops.
That would be a great twist. But yeah, Kira disables the life support system the only way she knows how, by shooting it.
Yep.
However, as you might anticipate, this triggers yet another Dukat message, where he's like, you know what? I'm just going to blow up the whole station unless the Cardassians get it back in the next 2 hours. Down in the security office, Quark laments not listening to his father and staying home. He had to follow that rule that the stars are made of latinum.
The 75th rule?
Yeah, 75th. Odo tries to comfort him that even if he's not the most successful Ferengi, he's the most devious. And is this the first time we hear of Cousin Gala who owns a moon?
This is the first time we hear about Cousin Gala.
That one cousin that you're just always getting compared to. It's like, how come you don't own a moon like Cousin Gala? In Ops, Garrick is at the computer trying to fix the situation and comes to the conclusion that only Dukat himself could stop the sequence. So they come up with this elaborate plan to turn off the security sensors while Garrick tries to fool the computer into thinking he's Dukat. And then Bashir marvels that a tailor knows how to do this stuff, even though he knows full well from that episode The Wire that Garrick used to be in the Obsidian Order. So I don't know what he's...
Right, yeah. He went and met the former head of the Obsidian Order who told him about Garrick, kind of.
Yeah.
So he just really is still, like,
yeah,
holding to this delusion.
Yeah, it's like, this mystery is totally demystified by now. And happily, Garrick informs him that his trouser alterations are complete. So Garrick attempts the password reset, but unfortunately, Dukat set up like a million challenge questions.
Yeah, it's like, what was your mother's maiden name? What city were you born in? What was your first pet's name?
It's like, what was your mother's maiden name? What the heck? Apparently, he gets one of the answers wrong because the replicator makes a gun turret thing that just starts shooting everybody. An officer that I never noticed was there gets hit and vaporizes.
Like, earlier in the episode, there's like 3 of them. Before Garrick shows up, I only see 3 people in Ops. And so I was like, where's everybody else who would be working in Ops? But now we know there was that one other guy, but he got disintegrated. So.
Yep. And there's another person I saw in like one shot, like when they were all huddled.
Yeah, there's like a person hiding, hiding with Bashir behind that same table, I think.
But anyway, rip that guy. They all duck for cover, and suddenly the real Dukat beams in, and he's just like in full villain mode. He's like, "Did someone try to change my password?" Apparently, he was out patrolling the DMZ when he got a distress call from himself. He confirms that he can shut down the sequence, and then he orders a red leaf tea. Which, was this the trick? They just needed to go to the replicator and keep ordering stuff
Yeah, I don't know. I really love how... I love the design thought behind this. That, yes, we want this thing to murder people, but somebody still might want to order a drink.
Yeah.
So make sure that that's incorporated into it, that it knows what to do in that situation.
Well, Dukat's like, I still might be thirsty while this is all happening. So, at this moment, Garrick and Dukat decide to get into a weird argument about some kind of history with Dukat's father, and Garrick betrayed him and stuff. Eventually, Dukat does turn off the gun turret and invites Kira to the office to negotiate. He'll turn off the sequence if they let the Cardassians put a garrison on the station. Kira correctly points out that any deal made under duress would be worthless, but Dukat counters that it doesn't matter since it will be hard to get the Cardassians to leave once he's put them on there, which I actually kind of doubt.
Yeah, you showed us how to, like, pump poison gas in, so
Yeah,
really, it's going to be easy.
It's like, what if I, like, find the line of code that's like, do this to all non-Cardassians and just, like, change it to Cardassians?
Also, I don't feel like a garrison has ever been used as a number of people before, but that seems to be how it's being used here.
Yeah, like, one guy camped out on the station would technically be a garrison, but it's like, oh yeah, I'll let you have a garrison of 2 people. But it doesn't matter, because Kira would rather blow up the entire station and everyone on it than hand it back to the Cardassians.
Yep.
It's like, those 2,000 people, screw them.
I don't like you personally.
Yeah, I can't let you have this win. Dukat says he'll return to his ship while they think about it, but finds himself unable to beam out. Then, in one of the greatest twists ever, a recording comes on of another Cardassian scolding Dukat for trying to abandon his post after losing control of Terok Nor.
It is a great moment where it's like, I see that just as I suspected, you're a coward, so I'm going to make sure that you can't. And also, I'm deleting all of your codes.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to stop the explosion, you couldn't.
Yep. At least the replicator doesn't start shooting people again.
Yep, true.
I just like that. I'm just trying to imagine what happened, like, because Dukat apparently made this whole security system, but some other guy, like, went in when he wasn't looking and, like, added this extra little part of it.
Well, I figured that wasn't actually part of the same thing. I was just like, if the auto-destruct is ever activated, Dukat is not allowed to leave. Like, it was a separate but similar idea.
Okay. That makes it even funnier. So after Garrick briefly tries to continue their shouting match, they get to work trying to collectively figure out a way out of the situation. So the bottom line, there's a lot of complicated stuff, but the bottom line is they need to disengage the laser fusion initiator or something. But the controls to do that are way far away, and there's like 1 million force fields all over the place.
And now even Garrett can't, like, step through force fields anymore because all of the codes were deleted by that guy's message.
Oh yeah, well,
Because he says, he's like, as you just heard, like, all of the command codes have been deleted or whatever.
I mean, we never see this put to the test, but...
That's true.
Because I kind of think that... I don't know. I kind of imagine that Garrick had some sort of special Obsidian order code that just lets him override anything, so that might be in a different system or something, but I don't know, we'll never know. We return to Cisco, Jake, and the Chief, who have piled up a bunch of ore in front of the door. They use a big glowy wire to set off the ore, and it blows a perfectly circular hole that they can crawl out through.
Yep.
It's not in any way related to the pattern that they actually stacked those rocks in.
Not at all.
Or maybe the Chief is just a brilliant rock stacker, and I don't know. Dukat insists that he'll figure out a way to outsmart his program, but Garrick is like, stop trying to show off in front of Kira. She's not impressed, and you're married.
That was a married man.
Yes.
You got to remember that Cardassians are all about family.
Right. This is a reminder of that, I guess.
But so, okay, I got a note.
Okay.
That there's in here. So this thing with, like, Dukat flirting with Kira, apparently Nanavisitor is unhappy about how it was played here because it's kind of played as a joke.
Uh-huh.
When she says, I would have liked my character to make the point that only a few years earlier, Dukat's wanting me would have meant that he could have had me, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. So it shouldn't have been seen as a cute moment. It was actually a horrifying moment, one that would make Kira feel disgust and panic. Because to Kira, Dukat is Hitler. She's not ever going to get over that. She can never forgive him, and this is important to me. Kira may have started to see Cardassians as individuals, but she will always hate Dukat.
So she should have just been like more revulsed by that idea.
Yeah. And this actually leads into something that I saw recently, which it was like Marco Lemo's birthday or something.
Uh-huh.
And somebody posted like, "Hey, happy birthday," and these screenshots. And then somebody I know like quoted that post on Facebook or whatever and was like, "Yeah, he's a great actor and everything, but it's a shame people don't talk about how like inappropriate he was with Nana Visitor during the show, or inappropriately creepy, or like really calling him out for this." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And so I had to go look into it, and apparently there have been rumors going around since that big Deep Space Nine documentary came out.
Uh-huh.
Because there's one bit in the documentary where he does seem to be like coming on to her in a creepy way. But then if you read more, it's like, yeah, there's been lots of rumors based off of this one thing. But in fact, like during this one thing, they were like being in character. And also this one person I saw said that like Ira Steven Behr hated, or I think it was Ira Steven Behr, whoever's the guy who was on from the original show, who also was like in charge of the documentary and kind of edited it. And they're like, yeah, he hated Marco Lemo, so it doesn't surprise me that he would like want him to come off as creepy in this thing. But when you look at what Nana Visitor has actually said about him, both during and after the show, in the years after the show, she had a really weird relationship with him where when he was in makeup as Dukat, like she couldn't, like, she just hated him because she was like in the mind of her character, and she didn't like, if he was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" You know, when they finished makeup in the morning, she's like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, she didn't want to speak to him or anything because she just was like in this mindset where that's Dukat and she hates Dukat.
Uh-huh.
But when he was not in makeup, she was just like, "Oh my gosh, he's like the nicest guy ever." And she like would invite him over to her house for holidays a lot. And she's like, "Yeah, he like did Easter with me and my kids," or like he didn't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving that year, so we invited him over for Thanksgiving. And he's just like the sweetest guy ever. And we just hang out. And so it seems like there's not any actual evidence that he was like creepy to her or inappropriate on a regular basis. It's just that she's kind of odd about some things.
So there's never been any like official complaint or...
No, it all seems to be based on like that one moment from the documentary.
So Marco Lemo, seemingly nice guy.
Yeah. Maybe, probably.
Who knows?
Who knows in truth?
Yep. I mean, I still maintain that Tom Hanks has a torture dungeon under his house. Yeah, so, yeah. Garrick and Dukat bicker some more, but Dax comes up with another convoluted plan to take out all the force fields, which Dukat says will work because they disconnected the lethal force field emitters. And so those won't be connected to the program, and then they can overload those and then overload the system or something. Anyway, but for some reason this will cause them to lose transporters and turbo lifts. But at least they'll get comms back. And at this point, nobody's like, "But don't we need the transporters or turbo lifts to get down to the place we want to go to?"
I mean, it doesn't really matter if you can't get out of the room anyway.
True. It's like, cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
And this works, and they're able to contact Sisko and team and catch them up on the situation and get them to go do the thing to the fusion laser thing.
Which Sisko had just been like, "Hey, the turbo lifts aren't working, but we can climb up the turbo lift shaft, right?"
Uh-huh.
Which we'd established in a previous episode. No, you can't. Because, like, the inside of the turbo lift shaft is, like, horribly electrified and it will kill you. So I think it's a good thing they didn't try that.
Maybe they fixed that.
Oh, yeah, maybe they repaired that since then. Okay.
Back in security, the force field is still on, however. And Odo deduces that the Cardassians don't trust him. Quark says it's all because he's an honorable man, and the Cardassians knew he would do the right thing, which to them is the wrong thing. And now his integrity is going to get them killed. Which, you know, so it's like mirroring that compliment he got earlier.
I do love the way it starts out and you think Quark is giving you a compliment, but he's actually just like making an accusation. He's like, "And now that bullshit is going to get us killed. Yep. We're going to get me killed."
Sisko comes up with the idea that maybe if they can't do the laser fusion thing, they can at least direct the explosion into the shields. O'Brien's like, "Good idea. Unfortunately, their path is blocked by some kind of cave-in. But there is a maintenance conduit. However, that is filled with all kinds of green fire and stuff.
Plasma fire.
So Cisco and O'Brien are like, well, got to do what we got to do, and they dive in.
See, that was a card from the Star Trek card game.
Oh, yeah.
Like the picture of the green fire, and it was called Plasma Fire.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Dilemma.
Sure. O'Brien is immediately knocked out by some kind of explosion, and Cisco is forced to leave him behind. He's like, no. But Jake heroically dives in and drags the chief out.
Really, I was surprised Cisco didn't, like, tap his comm badge and be like, Jake, get the chief out. While I, finish.
Well, I mean, I think he didn't want Jake to, like, do anything dangerous.
Well, I mean, they're all going to die, so just let Jake help.
Because they have that little moment where O'Brien's like, I thought your dad didn't want you going in there. And Jake's like, I won't tell if you won't.
Yeah, but, like, and I get it because he tells Jake, no, I'm serious, you cannot come in here.
Yeah.
But it was like, O'Brien's like 2 feet in there. Just have Jake reach in and grab him. It's not that big a deal.
But yeah, Cisco makes it to the fusion control panel, and he just gets to work, like, pulling out rods and stuff. He's like, pull out rod, look, put rod back. He doesn't look finished when the fusion reactor blows, but apparently he did enough, because a bunch of energy blasts into the shields. The physics of what's going on, I have no clue, and I don't care.
It does seem quite clear that he does not think he was finished, because just before it happens, he, like, pulls a rod out and is looking at it like, where do I put this one? And then it goes off, and then afterwards he's, like, holding 2 rods, and he's kind of looking at them like, I guess I didn't need you? Okay.
Which, like, wouldn't you not want to contain the explosion in your shields? I just keep thinking back to that scene in, like, Armageddon, where he's like, what happens if you light a firecracker on your hand? It's like, burn your hand.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, what if you just direct the explosion out into space? Wouldn't that be better than shooting it into the shields?
Yeah. But, so I think space can handle it.
Also, wasn't an explosion so much as a bunch of lightning or whatever, so I don't...
Yeah, whatever's happening here, I really have no clue.
Also, I didn't feel like the shield should even be up because Dukat beamed aboard.
Well, maybe that's part of what Cisco did.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or something, I don't know. Or maybe when they did their overload thing that brought the comms back, it enabled them to bring the shields back up. I don't know. But we end with a little comedic scene where Quark reads Odo's file on him and finds it less than flattering. He's like, not as clever as he thinks he is. And then they walk down the promenade together while Odo lists Ferengi that he finds more devious than Quark.
And it seriously, the line stuck with me so hard because, like, as he's going down the list, he's like, your brother Rom, my brother Rom. It's like, your cousin Gala? Gala? The one with the moon? I was like, no, Quark, your other cousin Gala. What kind of question is that?
Maybe he has multiple cousins named Gala. I don't know. But yep, that's the end.
Oh, man. Okay, so the big thing about this one is apparently it was just, like, nightmarish to write.
Uh-huh.
As Ira Stephen Bear says, it's one of those back-breaking, horrible, horrible experiences. And Ron Moore is like, to make the Jeopardy intriguing, to find the inner story was what they were trying to do. But by the time of production, virtually every writer on staff had a go at the script, and every single draft was rejected by Michael Piller. According to Bear, Piller called him at 8 a.m. on Monday morning and told him, I hate to say this, Ira, but I'm not buying any of it. It's not working. And so they did eventually, clearly, get a script greenlit. But it's like, the writing process turned out to be as painful and disgusting as we thought it would be. But in the end, it turned out solid with some nice twists and some great stuff for Garrick and Dukat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we definitely got some more Garrick and Dukat lore teased.
Yeah. And also, one of the reasons that they used Dukat in this episode like this is, he says, we were making him a little too friendly in the Maquis Part 1 and 2, and we definitely did not want to do that. I don't want him to be the friendly neighborhood Cardassian.
Got to remind everybody that he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
He was Space Hitler. I said this last time, but didn't there used to be a guy named Michael Eddington on this show?
Still gone.
Maybe he's on vacation or something.
He's back on Earth relaxing on the beach.
Yep.
Definitely not plotting anything evil.
No, he's a nice guy. He's really friendly.
He is here to make friends.
He likes making friends.
Yeah. Also, there was a Romulan who, but we haven't really been on the Defiant that much, so maybe she's just hanging out over there.
I assume she just took that cloaking device home with her.
Like, we're done now, right? All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
So I kind of like the idea that there's just like the station is just so massive that there's a huge unexplored maze of stuff in the bowels of the station. I wish they would play with that a little bit more.
I like what they did with the episode where, I mean, and they kind of lampshade it when Bashir's like, man, I was just starting to think of this as home. And Kira's like, yeah, don't do that. Because it's a very different feeling than being on the Enterprise where, like, you know where this came from.
Right.
With this, after this episode, you can never quite be comfortable here again because there could be anything. I mean, we had the aphasia device episode where that was hiding.
Yeah.
But this is a little more systemic than that.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, you never know what might happen next week and the station might turn on us again. So I kind of like that added tinge of paranoia. Yeah.
And that thing I was telling you about last time, like Majel Barrett talk she gave before the show premiered.
Yeah.
Like when she was like reading out of like the Deep Space Nine show Bible, it's like one of the lines in there is like, by the end of the episode, they get things kind of locked down, but they will never have full control of the station. So I think this, is kind of like definitely goes to that.
Yeah.
And I like the idea. I like the idea that, I mean, the station just has so much history, like buried in its walls, basically.
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes literally, like when Quark went into the assay office or whatever and got that box out of the wall.
Oh, yeah. Yep. In that episode when he got shot.
Yep.
I think any other points I'm going to save for ratings.
Okay.
So
well, let's do that.
Oh, you want to do ratings?
Sure.
How would you rate this episode, Civil Defense?
I find this episode, despite the bad title, I find this episode to be delightful.
Oh, yeah.
Like, on almost every level. Like, they talked about how tough a time they had writing it, but I don't think that comes across. It feels very... it feels like it just flows to me, and it feels very clever, and everyone, all the acting is very on point. Dukat, I think, really, with the messages and stuff, is great. And then when he comes on the station, he's even better, and he's just so smug.
Yeah.
And he sees Garrick and he's just like, oh man, seeing you cowering back there was worth my whole trip. This is great.
Oh yeah.
And we get Odo and Quark locked in a room to have to go back and forth, which is always like the strength of those characters is their back and forth with each other. And I think the only thing that I thought was less good than the rest, like the Cisco O'Brien Jake part of the story, I was just kind of like, all right, it's fine. I didn't feel like as exceptional as the rest, but it wasn't bad or anything. So I think this may be my favorite episode so far this season. I'm going to give it a captain. I'm going to put it at the top.
Nice. Yeah, so, I mean, this episode just has a lot of stuff that I love. So, first of all, I just love the idea of an automated system that thinks one thing is going on when really something totally different is going on. Like... It kind of reminds me of, like, in Portal 2 when you're going through, like, the Cave Johnson stuff.
Oh, yeah. It does, now that you say that. I love that.
And Cave Johnson's like, no, you got to do this. And I feel like that happened a bunch on the Venture Brothers, too.
Yep. Man, now I want Dukat as Cave Johnson, or vice versa. That would be amazing.
Somebody re-edit the episode with Cave Johnson instead of Dukat.
Yeah.
So it's just a concept that just really delights me. And then I love that, I just love the whole, like, Apollo 13 aspect of it. It's like, oh, we solved this problem, but now there's another problem.
Yeah, that created a cascading situation.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just one thing just keeps piling on top of another. I like that the whole cast has something to do. It's like just everybody's, like, involved and engaged in what's going on, except for Michael Eddington.
That's very rare up to this point. That's a good point. Like, I don't know that we've ever really seen another episode where everybody has something to do.
Yep. And like you said, I think just Garrick, Dukat, all that stuff is great. Yeah, so I'm also going to give it a captain. Like,
nice.
Part of me feels like objectively it might not deserve a captain. But I don't know. I find it so personally fun
Yeah.
that it's like, I feel like I have to give it a captain. So
I honestly had the same feeling. Like, objectively, maybe it's not quite that good, but I like it that much, so.
And I even do like the Cisco, O'Brien, and Jake stuff of them just kind of like navigating their way through this just like bowels of the station we've never seen before.
They are playing Portal 2, basically.
Yeah. So, it's like, did Portal 2 rip off this episode? So I like the part when they found the portal gun and the what was the goo that makes you bounce?
Yeah, the repulsion gel.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's Star Trek. I wouldn't put either of those things out of the realm of possibility.
True.
There's your next, like, we won't spoil something big, like when there's a portal gun. And
yeah. A portal gun in Star Trek? What? So, yeah, just a fun, delightful episode. And yeah, like you said, I can't detect any, like, the writing all felt really smooth to me.
Yep.
And then the directing was good too. Good job on both of those guys.
I mean, I guess the fact of the matter is you could cut out the Odo and Quark stuff. I'm not sure that they make any difference to the overall plot of the episode in the end, but it's fun. So why would you?
Yeah, we just a few fun back and forths, and they don't spin like forever.
Right? Yeah, it doesn't linger longer than we want it to.
It's like we just keep cutting back to Odo and Quark just long enough to basically tell a joke. Then we like cut away.
Yeah. Good
episode. Not so great title.
Good episode. What can you do? Every episode can't be House of Quark.
Yeah.
They got several reviews from different areas under the reception section. What appears like a frothy adventure puzzle shows complexities beneath its comedy, where the action is metaphor, and the characters reflect on the relentlessness with which Cardassia will haunt those who took its place. That's really overdramatic, I feel like, but...
You know, I won't argue with it. It's kind of true.
It is. I mean, it's not wrong. It's just like said in the most dramatic way you could come up with.
It's a little like grandiose or
yeah, exactly. But... Yeah, everything else that's interesting in here is actually spoilers. It's like, this plot point will come back up in season 4, 5, and 6.
Sure.
We're not doing that.
All right, so call it there.
Yep.
So, that does it for us today. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. As always, check out the description where you may find links to interesting things. I'm Fletcher, about to say goodbye as Data.
Adios.
Until next time, do not forget to kiss that nigga stick.